You know, there's something bigger than the border between Canada and the United States. Something that binds our lands together better than any international boundary ever could. I'm on a journey to explore that essential element, Aboriginal people. And so I'm using the border as a guide to meet as many fascinating people in as many interesting places as I can. This is about our history, our culture, and our future. Because for me, the border is not a boundary. It's something completely different. And I call it the medicine line. As a cameraman, I followed all sorts of crazy stories. Even things that may not actually exist. But never have I chased something like this before. Ghosts. You heard me right. I'm looking to uncover 2 different ghost stories. Am I a believer? Well, the truth is, I don't know. I never really thought about it. So I guess I'm open to whatever happens.
We're gonna meet Will Baker. Will Baker runs a wilderness retreat that's been in his family for 3 generations. The retreat has a little bit of everything, including ghost sightings. I'm gonna stay the night in cabin number 3, that's the haunted one, and try to interact or possibly even photograph a ghost. Yeah, a ghost.
Nordig is close to the Rocky Mountains. Originally, it was Cree territory. And from what I hear, some of the original settlers of the area haven't left. And I mean like ever left. To me, this place doesn't strike me as haunted. Actually, it's kind of a cool place with a bunch of cabins and even a teepee. Cabin number 3.
So, Will, tell us where we're at.
We're at Western Wilderness Adventures in Nordig, Alberta. I'm the owner and operations manager. We're a rustic resort that lets people get a real taste of the Alberta wilderness.
So do you kind of see yourself as a keeper of the land?
I do. This is a very sacred site. It used to be a Cree settlement. There was so many ceremonial grounds here. We have a Sundance grounds and a sweat lodge. And it's just such a sacred site, it feels like someone should be looking after it. And being Aboriginal, it's part of our culture and heritage to protect the land, so I feel like that's my job here.
So, tell me about ghosts.
Well, the thing that really got me into the ghosts was there was a women's retreat here. And, you know, there was no children here, it was just adults. And 14 of the guests witnessed this little girl walking along the edge of the horse pen on the road, just kind of, you know, moseying along, not a care in the world. And they started to try to figure out whose child this was, and nobody knew who she was. And then a second later, she disappeared, you know, right in front of their eyes.
When you see something like this, your heart must start moving faster.
Oh yeah, your adrenaline races, that's for sure, yeah. But for me, it's more of, I want more. I'm not scared. It's just more excitement than it is fear. You know, this is my home, it's also their home. I want them to be comfortable with me and I want to be comfortable with them. So we try to keep that relationship where they don't scare me and I, you know, respect them as much as possible.
Wow, man, this is crazy. Can you photograph a ghost with a camera?
Yes, you can. Mm-hmm.
And what do you get a picture?
You do. I have several.
You have pictures?
I do.
Of ghosts?
Yeah.
That you've taken?
I do, yeah.
You saw the ghost, you took the picture, and it looked the same as what you saw?
Some of them we see ahead of time. Most of them you don't even notice you have them in your picture till later.
Get out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Tell me about cabin number 3.
Well, cabin number 3 is the home of the little girl I mentioned earlier. We've had over 50 guests report seeing her, interacting with her, in the cabin, outside the cabin. She always hangs around cabin 3. We're not sure why. We're not sure where she came from. but she definitely loves cabin 3.
So now I'm gonna spend the night in the cabin and we're gonna see what happens.
Sounds good. Good luck.
Okay, thank you so much, Will.
You're so welcome. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure.
So here we are in cabin 3, the haunted cabin. I've set up a camera and I'm running a time lapse. It'll run all night long, and if something moves in the room, hopefully I'll get an image. We're just gonna run it and we'll see what we get tomorrow morning. So I went to sleep and I slept pretty soundly, but I made one mistake. I left the stove door open and my room filled with smoke. I guess I was lucky. I could have burnt the place down, but I didn't. It was a crazy drive and I guess I just must have been tired. Okay, just spent last night in haunted cabin number 3. You know, in the middle of the night, there was this one little tiny thing. And maybe it's on camera. Right beside me, as I slept, I had a second camera with a light on it, just in case. So the flashing light is just me turning on the camera light. But this is kind of where it gets weird, because if I'm the one holding the light, what is casting the shadow against the window? Wow. This is kind of crazy spooky. So this is my first time trying to photograph a ghost. And I don't know if I got a ghost, but it's sure a spooky shot. I don't know, this could be something. And it's enough to make me decide to spend one more night in haunted cabin number 3. I'm just outside Nordig, Alberta, and I'm staying at the Western Wilderness Adventure Cabins, and they are supposedly haunted. I'm staying one more night to see if I can capture an image of a ghost on camera. But before I lock myself in a lonely log cabin for the night, I decided to take a little hike. There's a waterfall not too far from the cabin, and hey, I'm a camera guy, so I had to check it out. Wow, majestic. This is pretty cool. Honestly, I kinda lost track of time while I was filming this place. It was getting late, and I still had to make my way back through the woods. And as the sun goes down, this place kind of gets creepy. But it definitely put me in the right frame of mind for ghost hunting. This time, I put candles around the room to help light things. Hey, kids, don't try this at home. You should never leave a lit candle burning when you sleep. The candlelight held for a few hours until one by one they went out. Unfortunately, they all went out before a strange thing happened. There's this moment when you wake up and you're not quite awake, but you're not quite asleep either. And in that moment, at the end of my bunk, there was a woman right there holding something out to me. I think it was tobacco. She was there, and then she was gone. I think I may have had a visitor, and it's not
anything like I thought it would be. There was something kind of familiar about it, and it sure wasn't scary. She was making me an offering of tobacco, so I'm gonna now offer a plate of food out of respect. I believe an offering was made to me, so it seems right to offer something back out of respect to the entity that offered to me. I like to think of it as a sign that maybe I'm on the right road.
I leave Nordig thinking there might be something to this ghost stuff that I've overlooked. So now I'm heading south to Nevada, chasing still another ghost story. It's called Pyramid Lake. And well, it's probably called it because of this big rock thing here. This area is home to the Paiute tribe, who have lived and told stories in the area for hundreds of years. Among these stories are ones about ghosts and even lake monsters. And I met with an elder to find out more.
I've heard stories of creatures in the lake. I've heard a couple different things, and I've heard one of them that there might be something very large in the lake.
12,000 years ago, right where we're sitting at today, we've probably been under 200 to 100 feet of water. But through the years, it, started receding. Whatever was in the lake years and years ago got trapped here, and they could still be in the lake. There's lots of stories that evolve from the lake, and one that really sticks in my mind is about what we call water babies. The story starts out, there was a family from here that went west toward the coast. A boy from the family fell in love with some creature from the sea. Now we refer to it as a mermaid. The family didn't really like their son's, new girlfriend. But when time for them to come back, he wanted to bring his girlfriend along with him. When they got back home, things started happening. Every morning they would see a small lake forming around them. Water appear here and there. The whole tribe became scared. So they went to the family and tell their son to take his girlfriend back to wherever she came from. He was forced to do so. When he took her back, his girlfriend cursed this lake. She left some stuff here, what we call water babies, which they appear different occasions, and they're mischief creatures that would play tricks on you. Growing up, I was told if I didn't behave or if I didn't go sleep, these creatures would come and take me away. I don't know if these stories were made to keep the young kids in line, but there's too many stories out there that, I kind of believe it's to be true. But they always say it's not good to see one or even hear one, because something on your family side usually happen, bad stuff.
So hearing the water babies, well, that's a bad omen. But seeing them, wow, that's much worse. So naturally, I got out my dive equipment. I hitched a ride with the Pyramid Lake Search and Rescue team and headed out onto the lake to look for these water babies. On the way out, Ken from the Search and Rescue Squad had something else to tell me about the lake.
We ran into some strange lights that's unexplainable. Bright lights, very bright light. This was like maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, so dark. Sometimes it's so dark out here, you can't even see your hand in front of your face because all you got is the starlights. But then they don't emit that much light, and the moon wasn't out.
So I heard there's something under the water. Can you tell me something about that?
It's big, it's not small. It's large.
Wow.
Large, very large. I seen the back or something. It's about like maybe 30 feet long. And when it went underwater, it made a circle wake. Like if you threw a rock in the water and then a circle wake of it. I don't know, just weird.
For those of you keeping score, there are baby ghosts, a lake monster, and lights in the sky, which I assume are UFOs. Wow, there's a lot going on out here. I think it's time to dive down and see what I can find. I'm in Pyramid Lake, Nevada, looking for ghosts, maybe a whole lot more below the water. And I'm ready to dive.
All right, let's see how this goes.
So something happened down there, and I waited for nightfall to investigate further.
The water's nice, actually, really warm. I didn't even need my gloves. At about 37, 38 feet, it dropped what seemed like about 10, maybe 15 degrees. It was a drastic, whoa, like 1 minute was kind of nice and the next minute was eerie. Well, because of all the stories and everything, I guess my radar wasn't high alert. So I was looking for everything and, and I was solo down there. So I take that into account. I was just coming around the side of the Pyramid of the Rock and my hose must have snagged on something because it was a jerk. And I thought somebody from the surface had come down and was trying to get my attention because it was a sharp jerk. Felt like somebody grabbed my hose and gave me a yank. In fact, I was annoyed. But when I turned around and there was nobody there, the hose is just dangling in the water. It's floating. I don't know. Unexplained.
Not actually seeing anything, I decided to listen for water babies. And to do that, I'm using my parabolic mic. You see these kind of microphones at sports events, and they pinpoint sound really well. I don't really hear anything weird. So I haven't heard anything on the surface, but now I'm gonna try something underneath the surface. This is a hydrophone, an underwater microphone. Let's see what this gives me.
This is actually pretty cool. I've never just listened to underwater before.
Pyramid Lake, with all its stories, legends, and unexplained events, is a sight to behold itself. The water babies legend is pretty cool, but another legend that's fascinating is how and why the lake was created.
It says, "Tubizi outnos, tame tubizi pia. Ina kaiva pida kuna nobikiana. Tu kumano is all watsikwe tuamagan. Waho tidiksit naatsi is waho bona tidiksit suzua. Umas mutuamoven kudidiksit bishat pia na kana. Oh pisha nanayo tubi moana. Pisha nahao nanachigwina. Kusaa yes all kanana kaswina is all sida manene wina. Tu pia gai na kana. Oh nahana na coin dwi hao nanachigwina. Is mupia is all musakwane kuhwina. Is memo ni tam. Kai na kana numadayak kuna ikome. Ohte mutuam kai tu pia na kana. Sa Yesu pia mudayak kuna wina. Is all waho ina pitam ko taya. Sua natsi ino. is wah bono ina gunya metaya Nazi sua ano is midwas munitam non so yongon za pejami ko pejan ponen bisha iwunum ko mi munitam semua kunya pitan kuna tayar emu pejan nabun o pahi tokano ka is muwaha ina gunya na tayar emu pejan kai nabun o kunya is mu pie ko sira nimsins ko watset tabenis o yaga ka wena oh yagan is chakan nunya kya panen na damara boy is okwin o piwu bana ko sida nums ko ters se is piers go tepimmanis pinya dois o te paten na makate is o tepimmanis wina is mu wahai bon inya pitan ko na ter mu ko ya nemu mane is mu wahai bon inya kunya na ter mu ko ya atami pern na mane u kunya isu ya na teneto.
Whether you believe in ghosts or not, you gotta admit that strange stuff happens all the time. And it can be hard to find rational explanations for any of it. I'm still sorting all these events out in my head. But who knows? Maybe someday a ghost will make a special appearance on something I film. I hope it's not somebody I knew. But either way, it'll be awesome.